I mentioned in a previous video that I was going to be back to do a separate review of Sometimes I Lie, and so that's what I'm going to do today. Today we're going to be talking about Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. I mentioned this book in a haul and I also mentioned it in my recent wrap-up, and today I'm back to do a separate video about this book. So I'm actually going to make this a little bit different. I'm going to read to you from the first chapter of the book and then I'm going to discuss my thoughts with you. So yeah, let's get cracking on that. My name is Amber Reynolds. There are 3 things that you should know about me. Number 1, I'm in a coma. Number 2, my husband doesn't love me anymore. Number 3, Sometimes I Lie. Now, Boxing Day, December 2016. I've always delighted in the free fall between sleep and wakefulness. Those precious few semi-conscious seconds before you open your eyes, when you catch yourself believing that your dreams might just be your reality. A moment of intense pleasure or pain before your senses reboot and inform you who and where and what you are. For now, for just a second longer, I'm enjoying the self-medicated delusion that permits me to imagine I could be anyone. I could be anywhere. I could be loved. I sense the light behind my eyelids and my attention is drawn to the platinum band on my finger. It feels heavier than it used to, as though it's weighing me down. A sheet is pulled over my body and it smells unfamiliar, and I consider the possibility that I'm in a hotel. Any memory of what I dreamt evaporates. I try to hold on, try to be someone and stay somewhere I'm not, but I can't. I'm only ever me, and I'm here, where I already know I do not wish to be. My limbs ache and I'm so very tired. I don't want to open my eyes until I remember that I can't. Panic spreads through me like a blast of icy cold air. I can't remember where this is or how I got here, but I know who I am. My name is Amber Reynolds. I'm 35 years old. I'm married to Paul. I repeat these 3 things in my head, holding onto them tightly as though they might save me. But I'm mindful that some part of the story is lost. The last few pages ripped out. When the memories are as complete as I can manage, I bury them until they're quiet enough inside my head to allow me to think, to feel, to try and make sense of it all. One memory refuses to comply, fighting its way to the surface, but I don't want to believe it. The sound of a machine breaks into my consciousness, stealing the last few fragments of hope and leaving me with nothing except the unwanted knowledge that I'm in a hospital. The sterilised stench of the place makes me want to gag. I hate hospitals. They are the home of death, and regrets that missed their slots. Not somewhere I would ever choose to visit, let alone stay. There were people here before, strangers. I remember that now. They used a word I chose not to hear. I recall lots of fuss, raised voices and fear, not just my own. I struggle to unearth more, but my mind fails me. Something very bad has happened, but I cannot remember what or when. Why isn't he here? It can be dangerous to ask a question when you already know the answer. He does not love me. I bookmark the thought. I hear a door open. Footsteps. Then the silence returns, but it's spoiled, no longer pure. I can smell stale cigarette smoke and the sound of a pen scratching paper to my right. Someone coughs to my left and I realise there are 2 of them, strangers in the dark. I feel colder than before and so terribly small. I've never known a terror like the one that takes hold of me now. I wish someone would say something. "Who is she?" asks a woman's voice. "No idea. Poor love, what a mess," replies another woman. I wish they'd said nothing at all. I start to scream. "My name is Amber Reynolds. I'm a radio presenter. Why don't you know who I am?" I shout the same sentences over and over, but they ignore me because on the outside I am silent. On the outside I am nobody and I have no name. I want to see the me they have seen. I want to sit up, reach out and touch them. I want to feel something again, anything, anyone. I want to ask 1,000 questions. I think I want to know the answers. They used the word from before too, the one I don't want to hear. The women leave, closing the door behind them, but the word stays behind, so that we are alone together, and I am no longer able to ignore it. I can't open my eyes, I can't move, I can't speak. The word bubbles to the surface, popping on impact, and I know it to be true. Coma. There's something about that chapter that I found really gripping, and I think it was because I've never actually read a book that has been about a person in a coma. And there's something absolutely terrifying about the reality of waking up and finding yourself in a coma and being unable to communicate with anyone around you, and being able to express yourself, let anybody know that you're there. Evidently she can't talk and she has some sort of amnesia. She can't quite remember what's happened to her or how she's in this situation. But for me, the idea of waking up discovering you're in a coma, it just sounds terrifying, and that was what really spurred me on to read more of the book. I couldn't wait to get into it and find out what actually had happened to Amber. But there's also the element of Amber being an unreliable narrator, and that is because she openly admits straight away that she lies sometimes. And throughout the book I got the sense that I wasn't quite sure what was true and what was false, what was made up, what was a lie. And because we are open to that right from the beginning and we are told that she is a liar, you start to question every element of a story. And personally, I'm not really used to that style of writing, so I did find it really interesting and it did draw me in. The way that the book is written, you've got elements of the story that are set in the now, when Amber has woken up and found herself in a coma. You've got things that are the then, but the then is in the sort of the near past, and that is when Amber is building up to what events led her to the coma. And you meet a lot of different characters, and obviously it is a list of suspects really. And then you're also taken further back to Amber's childhood in other chapters through diary entries. I really enjoyed the constant uncertainty of the what is going on here, what is happening, is this true, is this right, and the constant second guessing everything that she says. So any comments that she makes about anybody in her life, you're left wondering, is that true or are you lying? Which I personally really liked, because it got me thinking about how much of our lives, how much of everybody's lives is a massive lie. And what I mean by that is, how many of us tell little white lies, or how many of us twist little parts of our personality, or how many of us hide certain elements of ourselves depending on who we're with. For example, if I'm spending time with some of my best friends, I will say things that I know I wouldn't say to people that I don't know quite so well, because I have a slightly dark sense of humour, and I know that that isn't suitable for everybody. And I really enjoy good sarcastic put downs, so I will happily, when I'm with one of my best friends for example, say things that I wouldn't say to other people because other people would take it seriously. So I'll make some jokes with some friends and other jokes with other friends, because I know everybody has different personalities. And for example, one of my friends, she knows me very well, she's known me for years and years, and she knows that if I say something that is a sarcastic put down, she knows that I don't mean that and that's a joke, and that is a part of our humour. She does the same to me, but then we wouldn't say those sort of things to other people because we know that other people would take them literally. So essentially, does that not mean that we all have lies, because we all might behave slightly different depending on the company that we keep? And then there's the lies that you tell to yourself, which I do all the time. I constantly lie to myself, because I'll say, oh, I'll stay up till 10 o'clock tonight and I'll read a couple of chapters of my book, and I'll check my phone and I'll notice that I've got 20 minutes left of reading time, and I'll be reading and reading, I'm really enjoying it, and I'll know in my head that I've gone over those 20 minutes, but then I'll just pretend that to myself that it's not quite 10 o'clock yet, and then I'll think, oh, I've definitely got time to read another chapter before 10 o'clock, but I purposely don't check my phone because I know it's past 10 o'clock. I don't know why I do it, but I do lie to myself like that, and then I'll check my phone and it's 11 o'clock and I've actually spent an extra hour on top of it, and I don't know why I do those things, but I know that there's loads of people that lie to themselves all the time. And that was one of the things that I liked about Amber, because we know from the start that she's a self-confessed liar, and that made me able to sort of detach from the story and stop taking it so much as gospel. And again, it just made it really different for me and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, overall I really did enjoy Sometimes I Lie, and I did find that I was confused for a fair part of it, because I wasn't quite sure what was truth and what was lies, but I really enjoyed that element, and it got me second guessing myself, second guessing what the character was saying, second guessing her relationship with everybody that she mentions, and I enjoyed that. And I just didn't... And the end of that'll be my postman at the door. And when I'm reading a thriller, I like to feel a bit tense, I like to feel a little bit unnerved, and that's how I felt reading Amber's scenes where she's talking, when she's discussing how she feels in her coma, and how she can hear everything going on, how she can feel what's happening to her, but she can't do or say anything about it, and that just added a level of sort of anxiety, if you will, because I did feel anxious reading it. I felt a little bit unnerved, unsettled, but not in a way that it became unenjoyable, but in a way that sort of enhanced what I was reading. So yeah, that is Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, and I hope you enjoyed this review, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye for now.